Your friend sends a paragraph at 11:47 p.m. The whole messy story, the guy who keeps almost texting her back, the job she hates but won't leave. And you reply in 4 minutes with the exact right thing to say. Clear, kind, a little blunt where it needs to be. She writes back, "How are you always so good at this?" And you laugh it off, and you mean it when you say it's easy from the outside. Then you put the phone down, and on your own screen, still open in another tab, is a message you've been meaning to send for 6 days. Not a hard message, a normal one. The kind of thing you'd tell anyone else to just say. You know exactly what it should say, because you've basically written versions of it in your head 40 times. You just haven't sent it. That's the part nobody explains well. It's not that the advice was fake. It's not that you don't believe your own words. It's that the same brain that can see someone else's situation with total clarity goes foggy the second the situation is yours. People call this hypocrisy, and it isn't, not really. Hypocrisy is saying one thing and doing another on purpose, or not caring about the gap. This is different. This is caring so much you can't get close enough to see straight. Distance is the whole trick. When it's your friend's mess, you're standing outside it. You get the aerial view, the pattern, the timeline, the thing she keeps doing that leads to the same ending every time. You're not inside her body when the fear hits. You're just reading the transcript. And reading a transcript is a completely different skill than living the scene. Your own life doesn't give you that view. You're not reading about the awkward conversation. You're the one who has to have it, sitting there with your chest tight and your thumb hovering. And somewhere in that hover is a version of you going, "Just say it." You'd tell anyone else to just say it. And somehow that sentence, which works perfectly on other people, does nothing to you. Because knowing the right move and being able to make it live in 2 different rooms of the same house, and they don't always talk to each other. There's also a smaller, quieter thing going on, and it's less flattering. Giving advice feels good. It's clean. You get to be the competent one, the one who has it together enough to hand someone else a map. Following your own advice has no audience and no reward like that. It's just you, alone, doing the hard thing with nobody watching and no one texting back, "You're so wise." Some part of people gets addicted to being useful to others because it's a role that never asks anything uncomfortable of you. You get to solve problems without the risk of being wrong about your own life in front of anyone. And this is where the misconception usually comes in. People assume that if someone gives great advice, they must secretly be doing fine themselves, or that they're withholding some trick, being modest, playing it down. You always know what to say, why don't you just do that? As if insight and courage are the same muscle. They're not. Insight is seeing the board clearly. Courage is moving a piece when moving it costs you something. You can have a lot of one and very little of the other, and it isn't a contradiction, it's just 2 different jobs. Here's the part that actually explains the freeze though, not just describes it. When you're advising someone else, there's nothing at stake for you. If she doesn't take the advice, your life doesn't change. That safety is exactly what lets you see clearly. No fear editing the picture. But when it's your situation, every possible action has your whole life attached to it. Send the message. And maybe the answer is one you don't want. Leave the job. And maybe the next one is worse. Say the honest thing to your mother, and maybe it changes something you weren't ready to change. The advice you'd give is the same. The cost of taking it is not. Fear doesn't make you stupid. It makes you cautious in a way that looks a lot like being stuck. You can see this play out in small ways all the time, if you're paying attention. You'll catch yourself giving someone a 5-minute breakdown of why they should set a boundary with their sister, and then that same week you'll answer a call from your own mother that you didn't want to take, say yes to something you didn't want to do, and hang up telling yourself it's different, it's complicated, she's older, it's not the same thing. It is the same thing, it's just wearing your own face this time, and your own face is harder to be honest with. There's a cost to all of this that doesn't show up right away. Over time, being the advice giver becomes an identity, and identities are hard to step out of even when they're not serving you. People start to see you as the strong one, the stable one, the one who has it figured out, and eventually that reputation becomes its own kind of trap. Admitting you're stuck starts to feel like it would break something, not just in how others see you, but in how you see yourself. So the messy parts of your life get managed quietly instead of said out loud, and the same clarity you hand out for free never gets pointed back at your own situation, because pointing it back would mean admitting you're not as far ahead as everyone thinks. The friendships don't always suffer for it, but they thin out in a way that's hard to name. People come to you when they need direction, and less often when they need company in something ugly and unresolved. because you've quietly trained everyone, including yourself, to think of you as the one with answers, rather than the one who sometimes needs someone to just sit there while you figure it out. You get useful, you get respected, you get lonely, in a specific, well-organized way. None of this means the advice was ever fake, or that you were lying to your friend, or that you're some kind of fraud. It means insight travels better through other people's lives than through your own, and that's just how a nervous system works when it has something to lose. This isn't therapy, and it isn't a diagnosis, just a pattern worth noticing, and if any of this is sitting heavier than it should, an actual conversation with someone qualified is worth more than a video. This shift, if there is one, isn't some big overhaul. It's smaller than that. It's catching the moment you're about to say the wise thing to a friend, and asking, quietly, if that sentence has your name on it too. Not fixing your whole life on the spot. Just noticing the gap while it's happening, instead of an hour later, staring at the ceiling, replaying the good advice you gave someone else that day, like it was a message meant for you the whole time. Because it usually was. Go back to that tab, the one still open, the message you've rewritten in your head 40 times. You already know what you'd tell someone else to write there. It's still sitting there, waiting, not because you don't know the answer, but because, for once, you're the one who has to live with it.